Hello and welcome to the ATF Cast. That's anything that fires. Here we discuss science, firearms, the day-to-day, and whether you'd like it or not, we often don't, politics. The bounds are unscribed, the beliefs full of dis, and the bifocals simply unacceptable. We're a pinch of halava and a heaping cup of I don't know what the fuck is going on. So join us on our journey of nonsense and an attempt to learn more. While we try our best to put on a smiling face, keep our eyes upon the moon, and ride the waves of entropy in this ever-changing world. We're the ATF Cast, and we're just having fun. I'm your host, Evan, and as always, we're joined today by your lovely co-host, Matt. That's my dad. How you doing today, Pops?
Doing good, Sonny boy. How are you?
Oh, not so bad. Enjoying the overcast, rainy weather of Ohio, and just trying to do a little relaxing before another crazy week of work.
Yep, I understand. Got the windows open, enjoying the cool air and no sunlight.
Exactly. Who needs sun when you got weird, humid breeze going through the house?
Precisely. Right.
So today, as always, it's you and I, but as happens sometimes, we are so fortunate enough to have a guest today. We put out a little post on our story on Instagram a couple weeks back, maybe even a couple months. I don't know. Time flies. We're just kind of asking around the web to see if anybody was interested in coming on and having a little discussion, whether it be firearms or science or rockets, politics, what have you. And
bourbon, barbecue, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. We like to keep it easy going here. And we had one response, and I was so fortunate for it to be my old friend from high school, Mike. He is an amazing fella, likes conversation. He's in the comedy scene, so he likes to crack jokes. And talking, we discovered that he was a little interested in maybe potentially owning some firearms in the future and had nothing in his knowledge bank about that topic. So I was happy for him to accept the invitation on, and it just so happens that today is the day that he was able to join us. So if everybody could please welcome Michael Chilton.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Michael.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Is this live?
Doing great.
People comment, or am I just talking to myself right now?
It is live. Sometimes people comment.
Okay.
Episode 7. So podcast in its infancy. A lot of times we're talking to just about nobody, but
okay.
Our episodes are always, backlogged on YouTube. So in the future, someone might discover this and enjoy the conversation that we have here today. So welcome, formally.
Well, thank you. I'm appreciated that you guys are both having me on the show. That's good. I'm ready to get started. I want to talk. Let's do it.
Not a problem at all. In pre-show, we're just kind of chit-chatting and mentioning that you're the only response on our little Instagram request for whoever to come on and chat, and you're saying that you're really excited to see it and enjoy conversations. So thanks for coming on. And what are you looking forward to today?
Nothing actually. Today I've been lazy. I've just been napping. That's really all I've really been doing. Like, I attempted to write jokes at the beginning of the day. I maybe wrote like a line or two. I patted myself on the back, and I just been napping. That's it.
Oh, great job.
Yeah, great attempt at writing a joke. The joke wasn't there, but I'll get to it eventually, hopefully, maybe.
Well, you got to have it start somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. So some jokes are easier to write than others, but that one I just didn't try, so I'm not gonna. That's on me. I'm gonna take full ownership of that.
Hey, it's Sunday. You're supposed to relax at some point.
Yeah. So my girlfriend was sick this weekend, so she was over, and I was like giving her like soup and stuff like that, and she was just napping all weekend, and it just looked comfortable. So I just thought I would join her. It was.
Now, when you say giving her soup, were you actually making it and giving her a warm bowl of soup, or are you just like handing her cans of choices?
She doesn't like soup, so I didn't make it. We just bought it from cans.
Yeah.
She doesn't normally. It was really weird. Like, I thought something was really wrong with her because she was just like, "Hey, let's go to the store and get canned soup." And I was just like, "But you don't eat soup." And she just really wanted like canned tomato soup. So we went and just got some Campbell's and cooked it. I did what I could to like spice it up to make it taste delicious, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't like homemade. So
yeah.
I had some misfortune in my canned tomato soup experience as a child. So during the days, we went to a babysitter that lived in the neighborhood. I don't know. I was probably in like third or fourth grade or something. And it was, a Muslim woman that was kind enough to take my sister and I in during the days while mom was working and, just kind of take care of us. But the experience was mostly The Price is Right and the broadcast of the journey to the Holy Land. And it was spaced out with intermittent, little snacks and things. But I don't know exactly where she thought one should learn how to make soup, but she would make us tomato soup frequently, and she would just put the tomato paste, like concentrated tomato soup in a pot, and wouldn't put water or milk in it or anything.
Oh no!
And,
that's not good.
Pretended that we enjoyed this weird tomato paste thing, and really just kind of went home hungry at the end of the day. But
that's cool that you put on the act for her, though. That's good. That shows how good of a person you are. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're very polite.
The person you are, because you try to spice it up and make it delicious for your girlfriend. So props to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that story with me. That's awesome.
Absolutely. I don't have many stories, but the ones I do have, I very much enjoy and like to share them. So,
well, see, here's the thing. Like, I think everybody has a lot of stories, and the best way for stories to come is just to have organic conversation, just to naturally talk to people. Because I feel like that's just what happened. Like, I just said something, and it just sparked a memory. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's something I don't frequently think about. Maybe I blocked it out because it was a negative experience in my life or whatever. But thank you for bringing that to the surface. Yeah, that's the best way for stories to arise in one's mind.
Yeah, my favorite thing to do is just smoke weed and just think. Like I love doing that. That's especially by myself. Like when I have like thoughts that I know are wrong, but I have nobody to challenge me. I just love just isolating myself. I'm like, oh man, you're the man.
Yeah, especially.
I'm sorry. I just thought I would share that with you. I'm going to be random like that.
No, that's fine. The randomness spawns both from just I'm guarantee your upbringing, but also you have a very comedic mind. So this spontaneity of things is very much welcomed and appreciated.
Okay, nice. Yeah. You're good. You're a good host. I like your voice. You got me excited when I heard the intro. I was like, oh my gosh, because like I've been on podcasts, but I've been on podcasts where people are like just been lazy about it. They don't really take it serious. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is legit. I started getting nervous. Like I'm like shaking and stuff. I'm like, oh, I need to calm down. I need to do a good job. He puts a lot of work into this. This is dope.
Well,
this is episode. You said episode 7?
Yeah. So very much in the early, upbringing of this podcast. I had a fun story about a very terrible service call because I am an electrician by trade. I was texting.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was texting my dad here one day. I won't tell the whole story, but you can find it back in like episode 4 or something. Basically, it wasn't great. It was a very interesting time. But so I was texting my dad back and forth about my weird experience trying to fix some outlets and whatnot. And he was laughing and sending me gifs and memes. And, a little while later, he texted me. He's like, so I was showing everybody our conversation on text and all the guys in the shop. Matt works in a holster shop, Hidden Hybrid Holsters. And he's like, all the guys in the shop, they think that our conversations are ridiculous and funny and that maybe we should do a podcast or something.
Okay.
I love having conversations with my dad. He's one of top 3 people that I like to converse with in my life. Yeah. And it just kind of happened. I went and did some research, learned a whole bunch, made these layouts, and just drank enough beer that I would feel confident in writing some words as an intro and getting on the camera and talking. And I appreciate the feedback because
respect, man. That's awesome. That's cool. I got to know the origin of your podcast. That's dope.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm getting like emotional right now. You made me super emotional. Thank you.
All emotions are welcome.
Excuse me. Now I'm choking.
Something that I've really been thinking a lot about and am interested in having a kind of a deep dive conversation about here on today's episode is the comedy scene and your experience with it, because I listen to the Joe Rogan Experience a lot, and so often his conversations either just slide directly into the UFC and MMA or directly into stand-up comedy. And it's always really fascinated me what it takes for someone to sit down and write jokes and get in front of an audience and try to execute those and make people laugh. And I'm just curious about your experience getting into the comedy scene. What birthed it for you? What brought it into fruition? What made you want to do it? And what's your experience in the day-to-day of writing jokes and getting in front of people and trying to tell them?
To be honest, my origin story isn't as awesome as yours. It was very cliche. Like, I was just working at like a burger place and I hated it. Like, I hated making people's food. Like, I always wanted to make people sick. Like, that's how bad I was working at these restaurants. So like, I was just like, I'm having dark thoughts. Like, I need to get out of this. So I remember I
need to get out of this before it start putting rat poison on things or something, right?
Just maybe just licking like the pickles or something. I don't know, just something stupid.
Wipe it on the wall before you put it on the bun.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like, I need to do something. I need to figure out what I want to do. So like, I went to like a comedy show with my dad because he asked me to go. And when I was at the comedy show, I was so fascinated because like, I've seen comedy, but I've never actually seen it performed live. And I just like the different perspectives, like the different people up on stage, like they were just telling different jokes. And I'm just like, these people wrote these, like, that's cool. And I was just like, I just want to try it. So then like, I really had no clue on how to start. So what I did is I just got like the first comedy book I could get. I don't even remember what it was called. It was basically like a comedy book where it had a bunch of like examples. And I just like, they gave me like a setup and then I finished the punchline. It was horrible. I would never recommend it to anybody. But so I thought like, I was listening to podcasts too. I was listening to like Joe Rogan and all them. And they were talking about like, to be a comedian, you should get a job at like a comedy club, which I was just like, that's a good idea, because instead of me trying to figure out how to like write jokes, I can just go to a comedy club and learn by just watching the comedians tell the jokes.
That's smart.
Yes. Well, thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That good.
I like the paintings, by the way. Did somebody do that, or did somebody?
I did those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish my story, but we're gonna talk more about that later.
All right.
So yeah, basically, I just started as like a server at the Funny Bone, which was probably the worst job I've ever had as well. Mostly because like I didn't get tipped well, because I was like always watching the show more than I was trying to help people out getting food to their tables and stuff like that. But with that experience, I just learned how to like sit in the joke, how to like, sometimes the funny doesn't have to be at the beginning. Sometimes like you can walk people through. As long as they like you, they'll listen to it. But the punchline always has to be like really good. So another thing that I would do is, before my shifts at the Funny Bone, I would always arrive at the hall like an hour early. And what I would do is I would just sit there and just try to write jokes. And how I first started is I would just do things like my emotions. Like I would be like, what do I hate? Like, what do I love? Like, what's annoying and stuff like that. And I would just try to like, just be as silly as possible. And then if it was just like, okay, this works, then I would try to write it in joke form. Like the first time I took jokes to like stage, it was like complete crap. Like it was like cussing. It was like, I thought I was like some like Def Jam icon or something like that. I was watching way too much comedy that I probably should have just started. But I had horrible jokes. And I remember I was just like, hey, yo, like, fuck Smokey. Wow, I can't even talk right now. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, fuck, like Smokey the Bear and shit like that. And it was just like, nobody was laughing at that. And it was just like, because it's not a good joke. But I didn't understand that. But I had to like go on stage and learn that. And the best way for me to learn was just to write what I thought was funny, take it in front of an audience, and then the audience would tell me if it was funny or not, just by their response. So another good way I learned how to write jokes, which I'm still learning the process, is some good advice I got was actually from my girlfriend. The first time she ever saw me tell jokes, I was trying hard to like impress her. And I remember I bombed that night, and when I got off the stage, she just looked up at me and she was just like, "Michael, you're funnier when you don't try." And like that just blew my mind. I was just like, "Fuck you for giving me such great advice. Like you're an asshole. Like somehow I have to figure out how to live up to what you just said to me." Like, because that's the perfect advice. Like she was telling me, like, you're funny when you're not trying to be funny, when you're just yourself, when you're just having a conversation, and when you're just letting it flow, that's when the funny comes out. When you try to force the funny, that's when you just seem like stale and like you're just not appealing. So that's one thing that I'm still like working on is like writing and still being natural. So I like the process. It's a very fun process because you see what works and you see what don't work. And like I would say, out of my material that I write, I would say maybe 10% of it works. So yeah, it's hard, but I enjoy doing it, because when you finally get that thing that works on stage, it's just like that rush that you get from the crowd is just it's a good feeling.
The ratio, like 10% that works, I feel like me knowing nothing about comedy, really, honestly, this seems like a good ratio. I write a lot as far as like introductions and things go on this podcast, and just sitting back and trying to relax and just writing something that no one will ever read, but it's for my own pleasure. And my ratio for something that's actually worth reading has got to be less than 10%, in all honesty. So, I mean, I think you're already quite successful on that ratio. I'm curious to think about what the experience is between bombing when you're up on stage and when you have a really successful evening and everyone's just really jiving and really having the laughs. What is that experience like, differentiating from each other, if you could?
Oh my gosh. Like it's complete opposites. Like bombing is the worst experience ever, like especially because the worst thing about being a comedian, I would have to say, is other people knowing you're a comedian, because then they expect you to be funny all the time. So something I try to do is not, I hide from people. I don't let people know what I do. Like I just like, hey, I'm a janitor. Like I'm not impressive. Don't pay attention to me. Like I want you to do. Yeah, like just come to the comedy club. Like when you'll see me if you see me. Like if you don't, then you won't. Like I don't like people knowing that I'm funny. But bombing, I don't know. It's just when you have one things that make your jokes work is confidence. And when you write your jokes and you're basically, I think what some of the best comedians, what they do is they write from their own perspective. They are not trying to cater to the crowd. So like when you come up with certain jokes and then you think they're funny and then you take them on stage and you just get no response, it's just, it's like hitting a brick wall. Like, I don't know if you've ever like rode a bike and you just like hit a tree. Like, I don't know if you've ever, I don't know. I can't even think of any other, it's just the worst. Like you're in your head, like it's the worst. Some people handle it well, some people don't. And then killing is just, like when I won't say I ever like killed. I would say like I've had like good shows. I would say like that is kind of the opposite, but it's also like at first you're a little suspicious, especially when you tell a joke and you get a response from the audience. You're like, why are y'all laughing? Because you don't know why they're laughing. You don't know what part of the joke made them laugh, because you've been too busy with all those bombings. Like those bombings are hard. Like there's just you go from bombing to finally having a successful show.
When it's funny and they all laugh, be like, okay, now what did you guys find funny about that? Because it's the first time this joke was, right? I mean, where was it?
So see, that's the thing.
A quiz at the end, or
so see, that's the thing. I do like to engage the audience in that way. But my girlfriend tells me not to, because she says that I'm fucking awkward and I need to stop it. She says it does not enhance my comedy at all when I ask the audience what I did wrong. Like she said, I should never do that. I'm sorry. I feel like I attacked you. I didn't mean.
No, that's so fine. Aggressive. Hey, I'm going to take her opinion off of it. She knows you're way better than I do.
She's right? Like she's really good at like observation. Like she can. I always tell her that she should do comedy because she she's really good at like looking at something and then just figuring out how to do it and then just being very successful at it. And that's something that I admire about her, but also is like kind of scary, but she's on my side right for now. So it's all good.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's for me, it's just, I never trust when I do well on stage because like you bomb so much. It's just like and that's not like a confidence thing or anything. It's just basically what I'm trying to do is just, I just want to write jokes that can make people laugh. Like I generally want to make sure people are having a good time. Cause most of the times when, people go out to shows, they're paying money to be at those shows. So if you're not making them laugh, then you're not doing your job, and your job is to make them feel good. So basically I just, if I'm doing good, I won't trust it. I'll probably doubt it. My girlfriend will reassure me that I did a great job, but I won't believe her. It's very negative. I have a very negative mindset. So yeah, I bet you if you asked anybody else, though, they would have gave you like a great answer. They would have been like, yeah, killing is such a great experience. But for me, it's just, it's not like, I just want to make sure that my next joke's as good as that set. So
I think
each time it raises the bar, and now you got to try to maintain that.
Yes, exactly. Because I don't know, because a lot of things that people don't know about comedy is when you write jokes, you repeat them, and a joke that you write is only as good as how long you use it, because a joke can evolve over time. Like you can take a joke from the beginning and you can change it to be something completely different. And if you watch, that's one thing I picked up at the Funny Bone is I would watch comedians come in and they would tell their jokes and they would be super funny, super killer jokes. And then these same comedians would get like Netflix specials and they would tell the same joke, but it's just in a different way. And I just respected that. Like, I like that craft. I'm like, that's cool. Like, I got to see them work that out. And a lot of people don't know that. Like, that's what comedy is. It's just like, I'm trying to pretend like I'm coming up with this on the spot, but I'm not. Some comedians can do that, which is, I've never been able to do that. Like, I guess I could probably practice it, but it's just like, I always want to come prepared. I'd rather be prepared than spontaneous. So,
I mean, I think all of that was a thorough answer. You just said a moment ago that if you asked anybody else, they'd have given you a much better answer. But I think that's just as good as an answer as anybody could expect with that question. So,
okay.
Yeah. One thing that I haven't necessarily learned, but have picked up on listening to, I mean, primarily the Joe Rogan Experience, they do discuss comedy a lot, is there's something about that lack of confidence on stage as a comedian that really spawns the evolution of your comedy. So you saying that every time that, you know, everybody's laughing and you may be doing well, your girlfriend says you're doing well, but you feel like maybe you're not doing so well, you don't necessarily trust that response. I think that the only thing that is doing is providing a larger avenue for your progress or your improvement in your craft. So I think maybe, I don't know if that's a trend that goes across a lot of comedians in your trade, but I feel like it could definitely be beneficial. So
I'm not going to lie, the computer glitched a little bit, so I heard only a little bit of that. Like, I feel like what you said was really encouraging and it was going to make me feel warm inside, but I heard nothing. I just thought I'd be honest.
You have to check us out on YouTube later when it's up there.
Yeah, I'll respond in the comments later. I know it was good. I know it was good.
It was a beautiful moment if you had heard it. It would have been beautiful for you.
Man.
If I could have remembered what I said, I may repeat it, but most of the stuff I say is off the cuff, and I don't know what's going on. So who knows what I said even.
Well, thank you for saying it, even though I didn't hear it.
Absolutely.
But one last thing I'll say about that is because sometimes when I tell people like what I just told you guys, they'll say like your lack of confidence is actually holding you back from being funny on stage, which, I mean, I can understand why they would say that, but I also feel like sometimes like I don't want to be overconfident. I don't want to have like a good set and then think, oh, these jokes are good when it's just like they're not, like this is just the beginning. Like this, you just got people to laugh at this. Like you can either make this better or you can make this joke worse. Like what direction are you going to take this in? Like, or you can just keep it the same, which is safe, and some comedians do that, but it's just like what can you do with this? That's what's so fun about comedy. It's just like the jokes just start off as words on pages, like just random words I'm putting together just to try to get a reaction from people. And it's just like it's such a hard thing, but when you get it to work, there's just no way of describing it. It's just fantastic. So
first off, first part of this question is, how long have you been pursuing the comedy career?
Oh, I've only been doing it for 5 years. Like I've just started. Yeah. I started, like I said, I started doing open mics. I recently started traveling outside of Columbus. When I first started though, I did go to New York because I was cocky and I thought I could like handle it. And I found out quickly that like what works here in Ohio doesn't work in another state. Funny, like it translates, but at the same time different, because people are born in different places. Like they have a different perspective of what is funny to them. So now I have to figure out how to make my jokes relate to like not just people where I live, but people out in other states. And then you got to think about like if you get good enough, you got to go to other countries. You got to what makes them laugh. Like there's just so much about comedy that's insane. And I don't know. It's so, the process, it's so hard. I'm sorry. I'm not complaining. It's hard, but I love how hard it is. Cause it's just like when you can make it work, it's just like, it makes you feel accomplished. Like it's a great feeling. I hope I answered your question. I don't know if I did.
No, it was a solid answer to my question. And the second part of that, I'm curious about the change in your mental approach to being on stage, from your first night taking an open mic to, you may have found yourself a little bit of consistency and confidence in going on stage. So how has it changed from how you approached being on stage mentally in the beginning to how you approach it currently?
So the very first time, I can still remember what happened when I was on stage. Like I kind of like was just inside my head. Like I memorized the jokes that I were doing, but they weren't good. But I remember like being super nervous, and I still feel this to this day. It hasn't really changed. Like I'm super nervous. I'm thinking like, why am I here? Like I'm not funny. Like I need to get out of here. And I'm like hyperventilating, like I'm sweating. And then like they call my name and I just go up on stage and I just go through my jokes. So for me, nothing's changed. Like I just remember the very first time when I did it, I remember thinking to myself, like, I can do this. I just have to keep doing it. Like it's super nerve-wracking, and it's just like you're putting yourself out there. But yeah, I don't think it will ever change, because it's just like, for me, it's just like when laughter is weird, because it's just like laughter is that's like an emotional response. That's how I like to think of it, like that you're kind of soliciting it from people. Like people don't give that like freely. Like you have to earn it. So like if you're attempting to be funny but you're not funny, people hate you like right away, and they let you know how much they hate you. So it's just like, I am always nervous. I don't think my nervousness will ever go away. What I've learned to do is just breathe, and I've learned some exercises. I meditate a little bit. I won't say I like fully meditate, because I don't like to commit to things. Like I do it every once in a while. But I just power through it, and I just say like, okay, if I didn't get it this time, I just record myself so I can see what I did wrong, so I could possibly work on it. Sometimes I look at tapes that I've done, and it's just like, oh, like my jokes were there. It's just my stage presence wasn't. Like I have to figure out how to like make people believe what I'm saying. Like if that makes sense. Like I have to make I have to make my jokes believable, because sometimes I'll go up on stage and I'll just start droning and I'm just like a robot and I'm not engaged with people. So it comes off like I don't really want to be there. So why should they be there for me as an audience? So that's one thing I try to do. I just try to be in the moment and just say, like, don't write your jokes, remember them, but don't be afraid to like just go off the dome. Like if you just think of something off cuff, I guess, just go with it. And if it gets a good response, then I usually try to like write it down and then I'll try to work it in. But sometimes what I've realized is sometimes when you do off the moment things, sometimes they only work in that moment. Like you can't reuse it. But sometimes you can. So I don't know. For me, I don't think it will ever change. I think it's always going to be the same. My mindset is the same as it's been from day one. The only thing that has changed is I know that I can I can accomplish it. I just have to keep going through it, and I just can't give up. That's the only way to do it. Is just can't give up. Just perform when you can, and just take whatever opportunity people give to you, even if you know it's crap. So
kind of like anything else in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, and you said you do a few things before you go on stage, like meditate or whatever. Is there something that you do to remind yourself when you're on stage? Like most people, when they get nervous and they want to present something, they sound like the Micro Machine guy. Is there something that you do to remind you to slow down a little bit and just kind of be like, all right, instead of trying to tell a funny joke and you're like, a priest and a nun walk into a bar and the priest says, you just gotta calm it down.
So my girlfriend she comes to like most of my shows. So she's very critical, and the way she uses words is almost is like at an art form, and it makes me cry. So I don't want to deal with that. So I try to think of like how her words will affect me after the show. So I just try to I just tell myself to calm down, like just don't be a pussy, like just have a good time, like just try to be funny.
You might open a show saying that, hey, my girlfriend's here, she uses words, and I hope I impress her tonight so she doesn't make me cry. I mean, that's funny.
Thank you. It's the truth though. She's scary.
Yeah. Hey, there is some good humor in truth, right?
I'm telling you guys, I need help. Oh man. Yeah, that's another thing. I'm trying to write more about myself instead of just writing about like random stuff, which is really hard. Like for me, it's hard because I have to get more personal, and so and sometimes people don't really like personal. They just well, it just depends on the crowd that you have, because that's another thing you have to learn to do as a comic is read the crowd, because I've had a lot of shows where I have not read the crowd and I just try to go through my jokes, or I'll take jokes that work at one place and I'll take it there, and they just won't laugh at it at all. So
you walk out there and everyone's wearing a polo and khakis and you're like, these jokes aren't going to work.
Yeah, it's not even, I don't know. It's just sometimes when you walk into a place to perform, like especially if it's at like a bar, or like maybe like a small venue, you just feel the energy in the air. Like you can just feel like, oh, these people don't care. Like sometimes, a lot of times people put on like shows for like their workers, or like for like a bar. Like sometimes people put a show on at a bar and not even tell the people that are at the bar that there's a show going on, and there'll just be a comedian like, hey guys, what's up? And people are like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm sorry, can I cuss? Is that okay?
Oh, 100%. This is not a censored show.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't want to disrespect you guys.
Oh, you're good. I appreciate that, but you're good.
I'm so rude. I said I don't want to disrespect you guys. I'm sorry. I'm tumbling. I'm spiraling through my thoughts.
Well, it's not like you said I don't want to disrespect you guys. Lean over and blow a big fart or something, right? You're still being polite.
Well, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it's just like sometimes you just got to adapt, and sometimes you just know, like, okay, this is just practice. Like, even if you're getting like paid to do that show, it's just like, this is just practice. Like, these people don't care. And I mean, you can try to win them over, but most crowds can feel that. So like, it's just like, if you can do it with just your jokes, or you can just do it organically, then that's cool. But if you just try too hard, then it's just like, it's just dumb. So I just try to go into every show like, okay, this is just what I have to do, and this is just what I have to do to learn to be hopefully one day the best at this, because that's what I'm aiming to be. Like, I really want to be the best at this, because I really enjoy making people laugh, and I love watching just so many different people do it. Because you just get to see how you can just tell. For me, especially since I do it, is you can see like when they're telling the jokes and they set them up, you can just see the craft. You can just see how they're maneuvering it. You can just see how certain comedians can just turn an audience against them, and then with their punchline just bring the audience back on their side. Or how like there's just different like volumes, or just different levels to like jokes, and just how comedians can just get different reactions from people. And it's just like that's power. Like, I don't know. That's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm too excited right now.
No, you're good.
Too excited. We like high energy.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know.
It's got to be tough, because you want to be yourself,
Mhm.
right? And then you don't want to imitate another comedian. But when you're watching another comedian like Kevin Hart or George Carlin or somebody, you'll see little pieces of yourself in them sometimes, in the way they express themselves or whatever. And you're like, oh my God, that's kind of like me, and I could tell that joke. But then you don't want to tell that joke the same way they did, even though that's exactly how you would do it, because then you don't want to be categorized as trying to be somebody else. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, I will not lie to you guys. I've had to change a few of my jokes, because I'll write them out and I'm like, this is funny, and then I'm just like, I'll read them again and I'm just like, oh, this is not my joke, and I'm just like, I can't tell this, and it'll be the worst, because sometimes it's just like, oh man, that's the best joke I wrote all day, and I have to throw it away now. But yeah,
We'll save it for later, right? Just put it in the folder.
Nah, because
another 5 years from now, you'd be like, there it is. I can say this shit now, right?
people know though, like somehow I'm not trying to be like cocky or anything, but like 10 years from now, like just with technology and what everybody can do with it, and how people are trying to cancel certain people by going through like their Twitter and stuff like that. Like, if I was to do that, like, people could find that so quickly, and that could end my career like super fast. So it's just like, I just want to be as genuine as possible. So like, I always
makes sense.
Yeah, if I'm when I write my jokes, I usually always go in front of like just a small audience. Like, sometimes it's my girlfriend, sometimes it's like her brothers, like whoever is willing to listen to it. And I just try to tell them the jokes and just get feedback from them. And then I just try to take it to a mic, and then I'll just try to take it to a stage if I can get stage time anywhere. So that's just the process. That's the only thing I know that can work. Like, you can get places by doing that, but it's gonna catch up to you.
Yeah.
And that's one thing a lot of comedians don't like, is joke thieves. They don't like joke thieves, which is weird, because now people on TikTok are like taking comedians' jokes and making it their content, and comedians are liking it, which is weird, because I'm sorry, I'm going off on the tangent. I don't even need to.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I see that, and it just upsets me so much. And it's, I don't like TikTok.
Yeah,
But
I mean, if they're the original writer of that, it was their idea and their story, right? I mean, I wouldn't want someone to tell a story about me in first grade,
yeah,
right? Or whatever the situation is. It's like, hey, that's my story. That happened to me.
Well,
you can't tell that.
Well, it's just upsetting to me, because it's just like, you get so mad at people who are doing what you're like, who are writing jokes just like you are writing jokes, and you're mad that they're copying your style. But here's this new platform, which everybody knows that, and they're basically doing the same thing, but you're recognizing it like, oh, this is flattery, and I'm just like, what? Like, you're being now you're a hypocrite. And it's just like, now if other comedians come and steal your jokes, they have a reason that they can. Like you literally by you validating this person by doing that, you gave other people the go ahead to just take your content instead of just trying. And that's something that I see a lot with content that people put out on the internet, is the lack of trying. Like people just want to see like quantity instead of quality. So it's just like, it's like I get that like everybody has to start from like a certain place and work up to becoming like good at it, but a lot of the times you just see a bunch of crap and it's upsetting. So yeah, that's just my little, that's just how I feel about that. If my girlfriend was here, she'd be shaking her head because I just go off on tangents all the time about just nonsense.
Well,
ask me about anything
with life to be able to stand up on stage, right? So I kind of understand that. Have you ever seen, a big name comedian? Have you been to a concert with?
Yes.
In 1986, I saw George Carlin.
Nice.
Right? That was the first, right? And God, he had me laughing so hard. I was a teenager. I'm laughing so hard. I couldn't inhale or exhale. Right? I was having such a great time. I'm just rocking in my seat without a sound coming out of me until finally my lungs caught up, and then I sound like a harbor seal getting kicked in the stomach. Finally getting a breath. Hysterical. Have you ever seen someone just totally floors you?
So speaking of George Carlin, he was actually one of the very first comedians that I've ever seen. Like before I even thought about doing comedy, I remember I was over at a friend's house and they were sitting on the couch and they were watching a special. I don't remember which one it was, but it was the one he was talking about, like when's the like right time to pick a scab, and he was just going over. It was just a bunch of nonsense, and it was just so funny to me. Like I was just like just the way his mind worked. I was just like, that's so funny. And I remember I actually bought his book, Napalm and Silly Putty. And it's basically a joke book, and it's just so funny. Like his thoughts, like they're just so random, and it's just, he's a great comic.
Yes.
But I'm trying to think, because when I first started comedy as well, it took me a long time to actually like perform and get up on stage, and I would go around to the different concert venues with a friend of mine, and I saw people like Tom Segura. I saw people like man, I can't think of anybody. Joe Rogan, Tony Hinchcliffe. I see people like that. Hannibal Buress. I just saw so many different people. I'm trying to think of somebody who made me like die laughing. I remember I saw for the one time I saw Dave Chappelle's special on YouTube, the For What It's Worth. I think that that one made me like die laughing, because it was just like he was so serious, but it was so silly at the same time. I think that's my favorite type of humor, is like when you can be serious but like it's just super silly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he's hysterical.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know, if I would have to pick top comedians, I would definitely say Louis C.K., I would say Tom Segura, and I would say Hannibal Buress. Those are my favorite comedians of all time, I would have to say.
Nice.
Yeah. I love their style. It's Louis C.K. for like, again, his seriousness, but his silliness, but also his dark humor, what he can go through. Hannibal Buress, because he was like the first Black comedian that I saw who like wasn't like all over the stage and like super like flamboyant, because that's not the style that I have. So I was just like trying to figure out how like I could like translate my type of comedy on the stage. And I just saw like his comedy just came from his inflections of his voice and how he delivered a joke. And I was just like, oh, okay, so it can be done. And then Tom Segura, because he's just crazy silly with his jokes. I love his specials, all his specials. I haven't seen a Tom Segura special that I didn't like. So but I try to watch as much comedy as possible. I love comedy. Some people say it's bad for me. Like they say you shouldn't watch as much comedy because they say like it can affect you negatively and it can stop you from being like It can stop you from being not necessarily funny, but like being able to be yourself. But I'm like, I don't think that's necessarily true. Like if you're seeking out to like copy somebody's style, then yes, I can see that. But like you can learn by just watching people do it. Like that's the best way to learn how to do comedy, because it's just like nobody teaches you how to do it. I mean, you can take classes, and that's something that I thought about doing, but it's just like I always realized I just like I can't learn. I can't be sitting at a desk and watching somebody write something on the board. I won't learn by doing. Like I just got to learn by doing. That's the best way.
I gotta say my favorite like comedy series is Louis C.K.'s show, Louis. I think it was called. Like just I was obsessed. Binge watched it like twice through. Just absolutely hilarious. Love that. And Hannibal Buress also. Just like those are two people I can always watch, because Hannibal is so chill, and he just kind of like leans back in a standing position with his eyes all big or closed, and just like delivers things with such great inflection. It's just absolutely hilarious at all moments.
Yeah, or he'll use words that like. He'll use words that sound like he'll use words that are like silly. They sound silly. Like he's using them for like, you'll understand what he's saying, but you're just be like, what word did you use? And it's just so silly that it just enhances the joke. So it's just like, man, that's great writing. I enjoy it when I see that. Like, I'm just like, man, what am I capable of doing? Like, what if this guy could figure that out, what can I do? I'm super competitive.
So diving deep into maybe a state of controversy, I'm curious as far as your opinions on cancel culture as it stands today. I think comedians are targeted frequently. Dark humor is hilarious. Graveyard comedy gets people through dark times with a dark approach to comedy. And I mean, comedy, I think in itself is just spawned from the spontaneous and the unexpected. So saying controversial or dark things is a great great seed for laughter. How do you feel about the current state of, the attempt to cancel people based on jokes that have been made?
So here's my thing on it. I don't think people should be canceled because they attempted humor. But I think the reason why people are trying to cancel certain people is because they don't understand the process. They don't understand like how to create a joke. They don't understand that the comedian who is writing the joke isn't doing it to be mean. Like, they're not doing it to like cause chaos. They're trying to make you laugh. So they're trying to figure out different ways to do it. And like a lot of comedians use Twitter as like an outlet to get their jokes out to people, and sometimes people will see those jokes and they'll just, because of how everybody is and so into themselves, and so like I feel like everybody is so like self-righteous, and they're trying to prove whatever their cause is better than the other person's cause. And instead of just like listening, because that's a big thing that people do, they don't listen to hear, they listen to just react. So like for me, I hope I'm never canceled. Like I'm going to tell you a joke. So I wrote this joke and I posted it on Facebook and it got me banned. It goes, if someone commits suicide because of you, then you should take it as a compliment, because it's really hard to motivate people to do things nowadays. Is how the joke goes. So it was just a joke. It was just something I just thought of one day. I was just tripping. I just thought of that joke and I was just like, that's funny, I'm going to post it. And it just got me banned. And my sister, she actually she suffers from, she has like suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. I don't think I said that correctly, but it's okay. But she contacted me and she asked me like, why did I like write that joke? And I told her like I didn't write that joke to try to like harm people. It was literally just something I thought of. I thought it was funny, so I wrote it down, and I just wanted to see how other people felt about it. And when I explained her the process, she understood it, which like de-escalated the situation, because she originally, when she called me, she was mad at me and she wanted to tell me how wrong I was. But when she took the time to actually listen to me and realize like I'm not a mean person, like I'm not I'm not like going into the middle of a park with like a microphone, like just blaring like hateful things to people. Like I'm genuinely trying to make you guys, I'm trying to make you happy. And I've seen people who've done it, and I've seen you see people who get these reactions from people, and it's just like I guess my thing for people is if for people who are watching this, if you see a comedian who is attempting a joke that is a joke that you don't like, instead of getting mad, just realize like, oh, okay, it wasn't funny. Maybe that joke that he wrote that wasn't funny, he can rewrite it and make it funny. So the next time I hear it, it will be funny, or maybe he'll just throw it away. You'll never know. So I don't know. I think it's dumb. And I think the internet has given a lot of people power that they don't necessarily understand.
That's true. I mean, people could always turn the channel instead of listening more.
Exactly.
Having to throw their opinion out, because what if you hurt somebody's feelings? Oh, shut up, right? If you hurt someone's feelings, that someone should be mature and adult enough to tell you, hey, I didn't really like your joke because of these reasons.
Right.
I mean, like your sister, she reached out to you and said, well, why'd you do that? She didn't call you and leave a voicemail or a hateful text message or something just telling you you're a turd and you should be flushed or something, right?
So devastated.
Exactly. So many people, like you said, listen, but they're not listening to find humor in something. They're listening to find fault and listening for that opportunity so they can hear themselves over the other person.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times people think that they're right. They're trying to stand up for other people. Like a lot of people, like I've had a lot of people who try to, like when something happens, like in the Black community, they'll come up to me and tell me like just to be brave and stuff like that, which is really weird for you to come up to a Black guy and just tell him to be brave. I feel like when you sell me that, I have to rob you. Like, this is my moment. I've never wanted to rob somebody, but I feel like I have to do it out of principle.
You're like, you have to be brave. You're like, why? What's around the corner?
Yeah.
What the hell's waiting for me?
Yeah. So I'm just like,
to rob you. That's hysterical.
Yeah, it's just like you made me the villain. Like you just did that. But
Right.
but I think there is good intention. And that's I'm like, even though I say I'm negative, I always try to see the positive, because I always realize that a good way to like talk to people is to understand their perspective, even if you don't necessarily like agree with what they're saying. Like, and I think a lot of people don't understand that, because I feel like I can't like you guys obviously were raised completely different than how I was. You guys have completely different values. We probably have certain things that are similar between us. But ultimately we're different from each other. So I feel like when we come together, we're having a conversation. Our values are mixing. Like, I'm going to say things that might be offensive to you. You might say things that are offensive to me. I feel like if those moments do happen, what we could do is like, we should acknowledge it. Like, hey, what you said was offensive, but I'm not going to get angry. I'm just letting you know so you can correct your behavior, so there's no problem. I feel like a lot of people just, when something offensive happens, they just react to it. And I always been a strong believer is like, you can't change somebody's perspective. Like, all you can do is challenge them to change their own perspective. Like once you tell somebody that they're wrong for thinking the way that they think, like, they're just going to dig down deeper. Like they're not going to change the way they are. Like, we're no different from children. I know we're like adults, but we're so much like children. Like, sometimes I think we need a spanking. Like, all the adults. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
A lot of adults need grounded and spanked and just whatever. Because children are also more accepting.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm. So when you're little, you're just like, hey, how you doing? Whatever. Hey, you want to go play? Right? You don't care. But as you grow, stupid sinks in more so with some people than it does for others.
Well, yeah, because I think I'm sorry, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, and you said like the three of us are different, obviously, right? Even though we probably have very similar morals and things, they are different. Like I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, right? So there's 5 of us that grew up in the house. All of us were raised with the same rules, right? The same upbringing. Everything was the same. All of us are a little different because some of that is also the influence of what friends we chose, right? Which teachers we had in school, right? I didn't have all the same teachers that my siblings did. You know, some of us took different classes or whatever. So those other life experiences help build onto that. And some people, they feel that they are the righteous path or whatever. They're the only correct person out there. So they're just looking to slaughter anybody else and try to change them. And so just listen to them and accept them.
Right, exactly.
Maybe you need to be changed instead of making everyone else try to fit to you, right? Maybe your perspective needs to go, oh, okay, I see that, right? I've always liked to play devil's advocate. You know, I might be on this side, but I also want to look at that side and figure out why and see different perspectives. Like, okay, kind of more in the middle. Move along. Be nice to people.
Well, I think that's very hard for people to do because even for me, like with my mindset that I have, like sometimes like when I'm wrong and like I'm talking to somebody and they tell me like, hey, you're wrong for this. Because like, especially when you're having a confrontation with somebody, like you're out in public and you do something you don't necessarily know you did and somebody confronts you, you get defensive like right away. Like you're like, where are you coming at me? And then somebody will tell you what you did and you're just like, oh, okay, I did do that. But you'll still deep down, like sometimes I catch myself, I have to fight myself. I'm like, Michael, you were wrong. Like, don't be a dick. Like, apologize to this person. And I think a lot of people don't have that. Like they're not capable of seeing themselves for being wrong. Like a lot of people are quick to just be like, just get defensive, dig down. Like this person is just attacking me for no reason. So I'm just going to get defensive instead of like possibly growing from this experience, which is hard. And again, like, you definitely should stand up for yourself and you definitely need to do that. But sometimes people just don't learn because they just don't want to. And that's something that you have to accept as well. So,
yep.
Very well said.
But I like what you said about your siblings because I recently had that revelation. So one of my favorite things I like to do, and I'm going to get really close to the screen, is I like to drop shrooms and I like to just lock myself in my room and just have conversations with myself. I just love thinking about like nonsense. And when
you record it?
No. No.
You should. You might have a new stand-up line.
Sometimes it goes dark. Sometimes it goes dark. Okay. sometimes you catch that glimpse of yourself in the mirror and it was just like, come here, I need to talk to you about something. And then it's just a dark
delete that one.
Yeah, it just
anyways.
But yeah, what you were saying about your siblings, yeah, I was thinking about that the other day because I was noticing that about my siblings, just how like we're completely different from each other. And like you said, it's because of our experience and stuff like that. For me, I find that fascinating. That's it.
Yeah, I find it fascinating.
The construction of humans is often, in science, it is the combination of nature and nurture. So many of us come from the same nature, whether it's siblings, we're all from the same blood, but the difference that really makes a person is the nurture. And I think that's so easily forgotten that everybody has had a completely different experience in their upbringing and who they have chose to be friends and teachers and mentors. And, everybody takes little snips of their life and learns lessons, or they grow older and they just completely forget that they have the ability to learn from experiences. And so when they're confronted with a controversial subject or something that offends them, they just lock down and sit in their foundation of an upbringing instead of growing with it and, bettering themselves as a human being.
Yeah, exactly. Because it challenges a perspective. And when your perspective is challenged, you have to grow. And growing is the hardest thing because when you grow, you have to change the behavior that you're doing so that you can become a better person. And that's hard. It's better to be me. It's better to be this selfish asshole prick instead of evolving as a human being, which that is our natural gift. That is something, that's what we were born with, the ability to change. That's why we are the dominant species on this planet, is because we're better than everything on this planet. I'm sorry. We're better than animals. I love animals. I'm just saying we're better than them.
For first on Anything That Fires, I'm gonna introduce a short intermission. We're about to take a minute and a half to 5 minutes. I have to pee so bad. I've had a lot of coffee and a couple seltzers and everything of that nature. So everybody, if you need a moment, you're welcome to take it. I'm gonna click us all off the screen, and I'll be back in just a few moments. And we're gonna take a deep dive, switching from comedy into firearms. So stick with us. We'll be back in just a moment. And thank you for hanging around.
All right, let's do this.
Happy sprinkles.
Thank you.
Time at the Regal. The young man went out and made a name for himself. He's been on every record-breaking show in the Regal Theater in the last 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, stop. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up?
Nothing. Perfect timing.
Are we back? Are we recording now or?
Yeah, we're back. We're live.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll let you guys lead the conversation. Go ahead.
All right. So I realized my mic was off. I didn't even say that I was back. We are back. So I think going into this little conversation here, Halava Mather is probably going to take a lot of lead. He is a firearms instructor after all, an educator. And I do have some questions. We're just kind of going to tiptoe into the subject here. We're curious because I know you mentioned that you don't really know anything about firearms and that you may be curious and potentially owning a firearm at some point. And we'd be interested to know exactly what about that appeals to you.
Okay, so firearms all together. I'm not necessarily like a big fan of them, but I'm not against them. So what I do know about firearms is my girlfriend's brother. He's really into firearms, and every time we go over his house, he's always like trying to teach me lessons. And like he'll like pull out his firearms, and like what I like about him is he's good at it. Like you can like he's not just one of those people who just takes guns out and points them at you. Like he makes sure like there's no bullets in the clips. He makes sure the clip is out, or I'm sorry, not in the clip, in the chamber. He makes sure the safety is on. He's making sure even though there's no bullets in there, he's not pointing it at a person, and he's like showing you how to like handle a gun and all this other stuff. So I was just like, if I needed to learn how to use a gun, like this is like, if I needed to survive the apocalypse, this is the guy I need to go to. Like he has an arsenal. Right. And also my dad is a cop. He is a cop. So he always used to always try to take me to go shooting guns. But I have a problem. Like I'm like very sensitive to like loud noises. So like I've always been like super scared to even attempt to shoot a firearm, or to even like go to a place that had like fireworks, or even something as simple as balloons. Like balloons used to terrify me. Like I used to make sure if I went to a party that nobody had access to balloons. Like I was in control of all the balloons. So like I remember
it's the same thing with firearm, control. You want to be in control of all of them.
Yeah, exactly. So
right.
my dad would take me out, and I think I went like maybe once or twice. I never like shot any of the guns, but I would watch like the different people like shoot like rifles and stuff like that. And it's always been cool. And I like touched them and stuff. And I'm like, I fantasize, but I never like actually like pulled the trigger or anything. So yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like video games though, like I'm pretty good at that, but that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's my knowledge. Like I don't really have any real knowledge of any guns. My girlfriend's mom, she has a lot of guns as well, and it's just their gun safety is so good. Like I've never been around people who I've never been around people who've had like poor gun safety. So ever since I've been exposed to like her family and the way that they treat guns, because like my dad had guns, but he always put them away. He made sure that they were never out, or if it was out, it was out of reach of where we were. And just the way they have them at their house is just like, that's I can respect people who know how to use them and know how to conceal them, like, and who aren't just wearing it to like be flashy. Like if you love guns and you just want one, or even if you're just wearing it for like protection, like cool, just don't be weird. That's
Right.
that's my perspective. So I feel like when I was talking to you, I want to shoot a gun only for the simple fact is I want to get over that fear. And I know it's going to be super silly when I do it, because I'm going to hate it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm probably going to run away. I'll probably hide in the bathroom a little bit, maybe cry. But I'm so interested in it because, I mean, guns are cool. That's it. That's all I know.
Well, guns are cool, and I'm glad that the people that you have been around firearms with are people who are safe, right? Firearm safety is the first thing, right? Safety is the first thing with anything, right? Teaching someone how to drive, you teach them how to do it safely. You're not teaching them how to jump a ditch or something dumb, right?
Right.
So that comes later or by accident. Cooking, right? So a lot of times in my classes, like when I explain how to hold a pistol or a rifle or anything of that nature, I always tell them you want to hold it like you're going to use it, right? I want to hold my pistol like I'm going to use it. It's called a grip for a reason. That's where your hand goes. That's where you grip it. Same thing with a butcher knife. You don't hold a butcher knife by the tip, right? You don't grab it by the blade and then try to cut open the back, right? You always grab it by the handle so that you can manipulate it and use it well. By holding it by the handle, mentally, you always know where the pointy end is. So if I'm holding my pistol like I'm going to use it, I always know where the muzzle is, where the bullet comes out. So it's a way to maintain safety by always holding it correctly. Right?
Yeah.
So
that's
it's a good
that's something.
thing.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you real fast. No. That's something my sister's, or I'm sorry, not my sister. That's weird. I just said that. My girlfriend's brother. Yeah, I said that. It was weird.
She's his sister, so that's where that came up.
Yeah. Okay. See, I like how you saved me. Yeah. You made it unweird. Like I made it really weird. You corrected it. That's cool. That's something a dad would do. Like, are you my dad?
Heck yeah. We can hang out.
That'd be funny. What if we did start hanging out, just me and you? Like,
that'd be awesome.
like we just started our own podcast.
He'd be mad as hell. He'd be strolling through there and see it. Son of a bitch.
But yeah, he taught me. He said to me, "Don't ever point a gun at somebody unless you are going to use it." And when he said that to me, like I was just like that, because that was like super intense. Like I didn't expect anybody to say something so scary to me. Like I was just like, you can't even do it to be cool. And he was just like, no, don't even joke around. And I was just like, okay, nope. I was joking. Like I wasn't serious about that. But yes, I can.
Same thing. You don't go in the kitchen, you grab the knife off the counter and be like, ha ha, to your sister. Right,
exactly.
Mom would come across and just slap the living hell out of you, right? So, or dad's going to snatch you up. Whoever's going to do it, that is wrong. So you don't do it with firearms either.
Right. Exactly. So I'm not gonna lie. I would probably do it for the comedy, and I would probably get my ass beat. But I would just see if it made anybody laugh. Maybe my sister chuckled, and if she did, I think the ass whooping would have been worth it. See, that's what makes me different from most people, and that's why I don't have guns to this day, because I'm not. I can't trust myself. So
right, an ass whooping is a little bit different than a beating. You know, if you got a full beating, then you'd be like, okay, it wasn't worth it. But
that's true.
You're like, if I just got a little ass whooping, it was still funny.
Well, so, see, my mom was different with like ass whoopings. What she would do is she would intimidate me first. Like she would like sing me a song, and the song would be good. So like I'd be scared, but like I'd be jamming, like I'd be dancing to it, like anticipating the ass whooping. Like she'd be singing the song, and I'd be like the background dancer. Like it was so crazy.
See, I thought you were gonna be like, "Hush, little baby,
no,
don't say a word." You know, and you're like,
No. No, that's just where she went. Like, she would just be super creative with like she would just she'd make up song lyrics out of nothing. It's like she had hits. I feel like if she ever wrote them down, she could go platinum. But I'm sorry, let's go back to what you were saying. You were talking about gun safety. See, I even fucked that up. Go ahead.
No, you're good. That's what conversations are. You just keep talking, right?
Right.
So
right.
nothing wrong with that. No, I was just saying that gun safety is the first thing people need to learn about firearms. Safety with vehicles, right? How to drive it safely, how to be safe in them, how to be safe on the street. Those are the first things they need to learn. Okay, cooking. You don't put the pot on the stove and crank the heat all the way up, and then go over and start chopping the onions, and then the pot's going to melt, right? I mean, there are certain things you always learn that are safe, and you have to start with safety. After that, you start learning how it works and why it works, right? You need to learn the parts, and the parts are very easy, right? The part of a revolver is called a revolver because it revolves. Okay. The part that holds the bullets is called a cylinder because it's cylindrical, right?
Okay.
And a semi-automatic, the top piece is called a slide because it slides, right? So I mean, guys make guns, so we can't sit there and come up with all these fancy names. That's just what it is because it's what it does. So a lot of people at first are like, "Oh man, you know, I don't know anything about guns. I don't know anything about the parts." You're like, well, what's this called? And they're like, I don't know. I was like, it's called a slide because they go, oh, okay. Now you can relax because it's not above your ability to learn.
Right.
It's very basic stuff. Like I said, safety is primary, always. Right? We don't run with scissors. We don't play with guns. Right? Learning how guns manipulate and work and how to keep them safe and keep yourself safe and those around you safe until such time that you may need to utilize it is the first thing. You know, you're always told that to consider all firearms loaded, right? So I tell my students that yes, you can always consider every firearm loaded until you know that it's unloaded.
That makes sense.
I trust Devin, right? I trust him with my life. But if he had a new gun, he's checking it out, and he goes, "Hey, Papa, check this one out. It's unloaded." I would grab it. And the first thing I would do to see if it was unloaded, right?
Yeah.
So not that I don't trust him, but that's just part of the steps of handling firearms correctly. Because he might have put a blank in there, an empty shell in there, so when I pull it back, it falls out. And he goes, you know, you checked that earlier, right? Just to mess with me because he knows that safety is first. So even though I trust him with my life, I need to make sure that whatever he hands me is unloaded. It's my responsibility because I now have possession of it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah, it all makes sense.
Good.
That's what
that is just
go ahead.
finding out what feels good. I was just going to say, after that is finding out what feels good, what you like, and then you build off of that. You always expand your comfort zone, right? So if you start off small, fine, and just build on that. Just like driving. No one got behind the wheel. Well, someone might have. Not many people get behind the wheel and get right on the highway and start merging lanes and then trying to get off, right? So most of us start off in a parking lot, learn how to park and do a donut or a figure eight and then park again or something, right? So you always have to start off somewhere, but you always want to expand your comfort zone. And by expanding your comfort zone, you'll expand your abilities.
Okay. That's nice. I've never looked at it like that, but that makes a lot of sense.
So it makes a good firearm educator.
Yeah. And you know what? You look like you teach firearms. like when he said that, I was not surprised at all. It was just like, it makes sense. And that's
Yeah,
That's good.
I taught a class yesterday, so there are 9 more people in the United States who have passed the course who are now qualified to be able to carry a concealed firearm, as long as the sheriff department issues it to them. Right? They'll have to do the background check and stuff and issue it to them, but at least they have the safety and the knowledge, and the ability in order to do so.
So is that like something you do like professionally, or is that just something like you do on the side, like as a hobby? Because if it's just a hobby, like I respect that so much more. Like what is it?
It's it's a job, right? So, but it's also kind of a hobby because I enjoy it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part is standing in front of people talking all day because I'm so shy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I hide my shyness with my outgoing personality, right?
Nice.
So I enjoy teaching people and I've even had people in my class that start off like, "Oh, I don't know why I have to be in your class. I've been in hunter safety classes. I've been a hunter for the last 12 years." And okay, but this is for concealed handguns. It's not for walking through the woods and trying to shoot a 170-pound doe while she's eating a dandelion, right? This is how to protect yourself and your family when you get the pooper pucker situation, right? When your butthole comes up to your Adam's apple, and
no.
you have
I hope that never happens.
230, yeah, right? You have a 230-pound angry guy or whatever running at you with a crowbar, or they have a knife or whatever, and now you have to defend yourself. It's a total different situation, right? They're like, "Well, I still know about guns." Okay. But I always love it in class when I'm teaching something and I explain something and they're all like, "I know about it." And then they go, "Huh? Oh," they get that, oh, wow, that's cool. Or,
Yeah.
"Oh, I didn't know that." When they get that look, I'm like, boom, got them. I just taught somebody something. And that feels good. It's probably the same way you feel when you hear the crowd laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
When your audience laughs, it's like awesome. And I throw humor in with my class because I think people remember certain things when it's mixed in with humor, right?
Mhm.
Even though it's a very serious topic, if there's a little bit of humor in there to keep them laughing, keep their adrenaline going, keep their focus on what they're hearing, I think it's important because you can ask someone who was the last comedian that you watched that didn't make you laugh at all, and they go, okay, who was the funniest person you ever saw? And they're like, "Oh, Robin Williams," right? That they're going to remember their jokes, exactly what they said, what they were wearing on stage, how sweaty he was while he was drinking his water and explaining something, right? They're going to remember a heck of a lot more and learn a lot more with what I'm teaching if there's a little bit of humor in there. So I find it a lot of fun.
Okay. Nice. How long have you been doing that?
Ooh, 10 years.
10 years. And it's been like something you always wanted to do, or how'd you find it? I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry, I'm like asking you a question. This is your
No,
no, this is what conversations are about. I served in the Marine Corps, so I learned a lot of firearms and techniques and handling and things. When I got out, I worked different jobs. Then I went back in. I got back out again, worked some other jobs. I ended up working for a company, Hidden Hybrid Holsters. We make concealed handgun holsters, and worked. There's 2 companies in one building. We also had Stark Arms, which is our gun store, right? So I always wanted to teach people and do classes and stuff. And I had started it before I even knew of Stark Arms and hybrid holsters. I got qualified and certified through the NRA to be an instructor, firearms instructor. And I had several classes. Then we stumbled across hybrid holsters, Stark Arms. We checked the place out, started chit-chatting with the owners. They said, hey, if you ever want to have one of your concealed carry classes here, you can use our classroom for free. I'm like, really? Well, that's kind of cool, right? So nice big conference room with a monitor and everything. Very nice. So I could be a little bit more professional in my second job and my fun job. And then I did some classes there and I enjoyed it. It was nice having a structure to be at, right? Instead of trying to do it at somebody's house or find a place to hold the class. Because I didn't want a bunch of people coming to my house and sitting in my garage for 8 hours through the day teaching them something and letting them go in and out of the to the bathroom or whatever while
I won't lie to you. That would be like really weird for your neighbors too. Just see a bunch of guys just in your garage, just playing with guns.
Guys and gals. There's a lot of women, but it just I wanted to do it, so I got certified to do it, and then it just started to grow. I found Stark Arms and hybrid holsters that let me use their facility. In time, I started working there part-time, and then it grew into working for them full-time and just running my classes out of there. So I get to do a lot of stuff that I really love for a job. So I have a great time.
Well, that's dope, and I appreciate you for sharing that with me. That's awesome. Like, I love hearing people's stories because it inspires me. That's dope. You do what you want, and you look at you're successful. That's awesome. And then you said you paint too?
Yeah. I'm one of those guys that, I don't know, is kind of weird, to a lot of people. One, my humor. No, but these paintings I did, I enjoy painting, right? Or drawing, doodling. I kind of consider these as doodle paintings, right? It's not like I had something specific in mind that I wanted to paint. Mm-hmm. It's just what came out on the canvas when I was done. Right? It was like, oh, okay, that's what I made.
Yeah, that's how my girlfriend is. She paints a lot, and she creates a lot of like the art pieces for like the things that I do because I like seeing. Oh, cool. I like her creative style, and she's the same way. Like she won't do it for like clout. She'll just do it when she feels like it. And she most of the time. She won't even know what she's going to do when she's doing it. She does like a lot of stuff for people that she loves, and she'll try to make them happy and stuff like that. But it's just like I just love how selfless it is. Like, and I love seeing people who just create just to create. Like you're not even doing it, and it's so cool too. Like that's what's awesome about it. That's what you say. People don't like that. That's so weird. Look at.
I think they get confused by it and stuff too, right? They're like, "Oh, you're in the Marine Corps and you're supposed to be, you teach firearms and you're supposed to be a big." No, I'm not. I'm a nice guy, right? I love all music, right? Mm-hmm. If I like the song, I like the song. Boom. I don't even care who the artist is, right? If it's a good song, it's a good song. But my favorite music is classical music, right? So I enjoy reading and writing poetry. I read the Bible, not like front to back, but more like Proverbs and stuff, and Psalms. But I enjoy bourbon and brandy. I don't like getting drunk and sloppy and falling around. I enjoy nice things, but I'm not pompous or pretentious. To my knowledge, anyways. I'm a jeans and t-shirt kind of guy. I just want to sit back, have fun, chit chat with friends and family, relax. If I want to pick up a canvas and paint, I do. Piece of paper, I doodle, whatever it is. I just like to relax and get stuff out. I find it fun. And some of my buddies like, you're supposed to be a badass Marine jarhead and you read poetry. I'm like, yeah. I like it, right? I'm not going to be fake for you and just be like, yeah, I always read Sun Tzu's Art of War, right? I've read it. okay, makes a lot of sense, right? It's a very common sense kind of writing. But yeah, I'm not going to sit there and try to be something I'm not. This is just me, right? This painting, I could tell you that it's more in depth than what it is. I really like it. I wasn't sure what to paint, and listen to Pandora or whatever, and the next song up was, they showed the artists and stuff for the next song, and it was an Adele song, and like her face was about like that on the album. It was kind of in shadows and stuff, and her hair was pulled back, so it was kind of short. And I went, that's cool, and that's what I came up with, right? So I could tell you that Adele. It's not like I painted her, but that's just what came out of all the paints and stuff. By the time I got done drinking the rest of my beer and painting.
Well, that's cool. What you were saying about like your friends and stuff like that. That's always something. It goes back to our conversation from earlier. Like you challenge their perspective of what they think like a Marine can be. Yeah. So instead of like that's the thing that happens to a lot of people. Like instead of them just being okay and saying they're wrong and possibly changing, they just dug down deeper into what they believed. And that's just crazy. That just shows you people would rather believe their own bullshit than be different.
Yes. So there's a stereotype for Marines and I don't fit in it or whatever. Right. Well, yeah, I do. Right. Because I have the uniform. I'm a Marine, plain simple. So if you don't see that, have a good day.
Well, what you do, which I appreciate so much, is you're just authentic. Like you're you. Like you just don't care about what other people think. You're just you. You are you. People. You either vibe with people or you don't. And that's what I like about. That's what I like about people, and that's who I try to surround myself with. Is people who are just themselves and aren't afraid to just be like, "You're a dick," or like, "What you're doing sucks." Like be as brutal. Be as brutal as possible, because like I feel like that's the only way that I'll be able to accomplish the things that I want to. So it's cool being around like you're one of the realest people that I know. Like that's cool. That's dope. You're real.
Well, thank you.
I can see where like Evan gets his coolness, because I don't know. I'm about to get weird.
Go ahead.
One thing I remember about you, Evan, is the first time I met you, I was just like, oh, he's cool. And you didn't even do anything. You just showed up. Like, I was just like, he's so cool. That's it.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
So, like minds. Like people so often try to paint the world in a black and white landscape.
Yeah.
And, a black and white photo is not black and white. It's grayscale. There's all the shades in between black and white that a human mind could even, begin to try to imagine. It's the same with a human being. You get caught in someone's background or something, and you get stereotypical, and you look at them as though they should be exactly as the stereotype in your mind provides that they should be. But the duality of man is such that, we can read poetry and drink red wine while listening to aggressive opera and, hitting a punching bag in the garage and terrifying the children.
Yeah. I've done that.
That's one thing. When I worked at the Funny Bone, there's these people, it was called the Well Read Tour. And they were redneck. I don't know if you guys know who they are, but they're like redneck liberals. Like they were like rednecks who cared about people's rights. And like, I remember when I saw that, I was just like, what? Like that didn't make any sense to me. I was just like, this has to be like a gimmick. And then I like go out and watch one of the shows, and he's just like, yeah, black people deserve to be treated fairly. I'm just like, oh, okay, these people are legit. Like I never they love redneck things, but they still care about people's humanity. And I remember when I saw that, like they were so funny. And I realized I was just like, maybe I'm not as like progressive as I thought, because when I saw this, I judged it. I was just like, there's no way this is going to be good. Like this is so stupid. And then just a lot of the things that I used to do is just judge. Like I would judge the comedy off of the type of audience that they would bring in. And then that audience was just so like they were just people wearing overalls. Like we literally had to turn people away because they weren't wearing shirts. And we're like, no, you can't do that. This is not your house. Like being
at your house, you need a shirt.
I can't believe I had to tell you that. Oh, I'm sorry. I just people piss me off.
Well, that's the thing. The stereotype of a redneck. I think the large majority of the redneck type of people that I know in life are very for individual rights and, very progressive and free in their thought. It's just, they're painted in a certain light that people expect them to be hateful or, just that's not how most people are.
Yeah.
Right.
The world is painted in such a black and white manner by not only the media, but just by, ignorant folk that you run into in life. And the majority of people I've met are very accepting of every walk of life. They might not understand it. They might judge it. They'll crack fun and they'll hoot and holler in all the redneck ways about it. But at the end of the day, they don't hate you. They're just themselves. They're representing their background and they're respecting yours while making fun of it and, just getting along with their day.
Exactly.
So what I feel like, it's just like, I feel like you have to be able, for that to happen, you have to be able to be willing to hang out with different people. And I think a lot of people just keep their circle small, which is smart. But I feel like if you hang around the same people, when you see somebody who's different from you, since you don't have that experience, you're obviously going to clash. And I just wish a lot of people were just willing, because I understand the struggle of talking to people. It is some of the hardest things to do, because especially when you just don't want to talk to somebody and somebody's just being so nice for no reason, you get suspicious of that. But at the same time, it's just you could have a good conversation. You never know what could come out of talking to this person. Sometimes you have bad conversations, but that's just that's the process. The more you talk to people, the better you become. I've realized that that's great. That's great. You never know what experience somebody has. Even if it's a homeless person, and I talk to a lot of homeless people, because a lot of the times when I perform at shows, they're at bars, and those bars are downtown, and homeless people are downtown, and I'm outside just waiting, and they just come up and talk to you, and you just see you know they're crazy. You see it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is why you're homeless. But at the same time, there's just there's this how do I say that? There's almost this wisdom, you know what I mean? I don't know how to. They're homeless, so it's weird to say they're wise, but at the same time, it's just they know things that
they have a different perspective on life.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just crazy, and it's just oh, you know about that? You got to talk to them.
Well, that's stereotypical. People say, look, rednecks are stupid or whatever. So people might say rednecks are stupid. I say they should have sent 5 rednecks to the Suez Canal with a 30 pack. That ship would have been out of there in 45 minutes, right? Instead of 6 days or however long it took them to try to figure out how to move a ship. It's different thoughts, different ideas, different perspectives, right? Maybe not a 30 pack. Give them more. But
so I actually have no idea what you're talking about. So when it comes to things in reality, things that happen on the news, I try to keep myself as ignorant as possible, unless there's a joke there. And I know that's not a thing you should do, but yeah.
Flyer memes have come out of the Suez Canal situation. Basically, a large container shipping a cargo ship got stuck in a canal that goes through. Is it between Africa and?
The Suez Canal. So kind of like the Panama Canal, right? There's a channel there for ships and stuff that pass through.
Yeah. So a ship in a sandstorm got stuck, blocked the canal. Losing the shipping trade industry millions of dollars an hour, and a lot.
How to get stuck? Did they say that?
Yeah. The front of the ship got stuck. The edge of the water, basically. Up on the bank. So, the center of the canal is deepest and allows those ships to come through. And in whether it be operator fault or just environmental conditions, they kind of got wedged. So canal's a straight line, and they got wedged in it at a 45, 30-degree angle and just got stuck in the mud and sand.
Oh,
yeah. But see, first they drew 2 circles with their ship, right? They went 2 circles. And then they did a cylinder, all right, a cylindrical pattern. And then into canal. So basically, the captain of the ship drew a big male organ in the water, right? So was showing the route that they go, mapping it out. So he drew a male organ and then went into the canal and didn't quite hit right. So he bottomed out and then got wedged in there. Well, no one could come either direction. So
What if he did it all for a joke? Like they lost millions, but they were just laughing their ass off.
yeah, maybe he had a couple of shrooms and was just having a great time. He thought he was on the Millennium Falcon or something.
Like it's the world's best dick joke. Like nobody can ever top that.
Yeah.
They're like, we lost millions, but it's worth it.
We lost millions, but hey, it was good. It was fun.
That's funny. But actually, it's not funny because it's serious, and those people are probably upset.
Yeah, but I mean, tragedy spawns great humor, so
That's true.
remember to laugh at the end of it.
That's true. But gun safety, let's go back to that because we got like super off topic.
Well, just about guns in general. So you haven't shot yet, right? So you said you haven't pulled the trigger. A lot of people get really nervous about the recoil and stuff because they've seen videos where people pull the trigger and the person gets punched in the face by their own hands because the gun is so powerful, right? That I don't think you're going to be starting off with firearms like that.
Right.
And if someone does that to you, they're a total, right? That is not part of gun safety.
Right.
Okay. You see a guy standing there and he fires off two shots from a shotgun or whatever, and then he hands it to his girlfriend who's a third his size. Well, he fired a shotgun with little light 2 3/4 birdshot loads or something. And then when he hands it to his girlfriend, who's a third his size, who's never shot before, she's now shooting a 3-inch Magnum, right? That's 3 times the power, and she gets knocked over and they all laugh. That's not funny.
No, that's not.
Right?
Somebody
That's like walking down the street and pushing your friend off the curb while traffic's coming at you. That's not funny, right? So, whenever you do start, I mean, Evan can take you out. He's very proficient. He's helped me with a couple of classes.
Yeah,
right?
I seen your videos. You post videos. I don't like them. I don't like them because I'm a hater, but I see him and I'm like, oh man, he looks good with the gun. That's why I think.
He looks good with it because he knows how to use it, right? He's not the guy sitting on a 1967 Corvette with a hairy chest with a shirt open up and holding a couple of old guns or something. It's
no, that would be weird.
Right. Yeah. I've seen those pictures.
Wait, people like post that like online, or is that just like old? Like,
the internet is a dark place, Michael.
Oh, okay. That's weird. Like it's like sexual pictures, like they have like candles in the background. Like,
oh yeah, there's all sorts of stuff out there. So yeah,
that's weird.
Shake their belly and ammo comes out or something. Probably, I don't know. That's a real story I just made up.
Dad joke.
Dad joke.
My favorite kind of joke.
But yeah, I don't know when I ever would be ready for that so I would never like commit to something like that. But yeah, I would definitely be interested in doing that. And I mean, if I was to ever go out and shoot an actual gun, I would probably either choose you or my my girlfriend's brother, because like he like I said, he seems to know what he's doing and he's intense and he's mean about it. And it's just like I feel like you should be a little mean about it, just especially with somebody like me, because I don't take things seriously. So right. I feel like I would ruin our friendship, Evan, is what I'm saying. So
no, I don't.
And here's the thing: a lot of people they start people off with things where they just load up the whole magazine, hand it to them, and there you go, just point and shoot, you'll be fine, no big deal. There's a little bit more to it. I mean, true, pretty much. I mean, there's a little bit of science to it, but it's not real hard. You line up your sights on target, and when your sights are lined up, you squeeze the trigger so your sights don't move. And when the bullet goes bang, the bullet goes where the sights were pointing, right?
Mhm.
Is that simple. So it's not hard. And if you're someone who's like, you want to pick up the gun, but you're really, really nervous,
Yeah.
just put one bullet in there. Okay. I'll do that to students that are really nervous. I tell them, listen, it's not because I don't think you can handle more than one bullet in the magazine. And so that as soon as they squeeze the trigger and it goes bang and that bullet leaves the gun, that gun is now totally safe because it's empty again. Right? So like now they can take a breath. So they don't have to be scared that they're still holding a gun that might go bang. Right?
Hmm.
You keep your
Yeah.
finger off of the trigger so you don't squeeze it.
So
And,
is there like a technique of holding a gun? Because like you see how they do it in movies, and like you can tell like who's like trained and who's like just somebody who just picked up a gun and is trying to look cool. But like, is there like an actual technique for it, like how to hold like a pistol versus like holding like a shotgun or even like an automatic like rifle or something like that?
Yeah. There's different techniques for each of them. When you see the videos of whoever shoots the shotgun and they fall over, a lot of them are leaning back to begin with because they're scared. So then when they shoot, gravity's already helping because you're leaning back ready to fall, and then when you shoot, you do fall.
Mhm.
So you're gonna want to lean into it. So when it shoots, you just kind of your body can absorb it, right?
That makes sense.
Pistols, you want to be as high on the grip as possible. You want to stay below the slide because the slide's going to slide, right? If your hand's above there and you fire and the slide moves, you're going to get bit. So it is a self-correcting issue. Once it takes a little chunk of skin off or whatever, you move your hand, right?
Yeah.
Put it in the right spot. But some people start where they're real low on the grip because they're kind of nervous. So when they shoot, there's a whole bunch of teeter-totter. If you're high on it, where your hand comes in underneath everything, that gun can't pivot as much. Because part of the recoil that happens isn't just due to the explosion that comes out the muzzle, right? Boom, there's a shot. Part of it is because when the slide comes back so fast and stops because it has nowhere else to go, it kind of teeters down, right? So that slide manipulation is part of the felt recoil too. So if you have a good grip, you should tell people to hold up nice and high, and then they want their sign language finger to be high underneath the trigger guard, pretty much touching the trigger guard. And then your other hand is just going to come in and comfortably cradle in with it, right? So whoever teaches you to shoot, they'll show you some grips, right? There's some grips that are going to be better than others. I tell my students, I'm not going to yell at you if you don't have the perfect grip, if you're hitting the target. I may try to tweak your grip a little bit, but some people have broken their wrists and stuff when they were younger and roller skating or whatever, right? Or they have arthritis and their body doesn't move the same way as what mine might. Right? My body doesn't move the same as Evan's.
What you wear?
So
You're old.
So, some of my fingers don't bend as well as they used to because they've been broken through time. So I might have to change some stuff up. But yeah, there's better grips than others. You just want to be able to hold it nice and high so that the gun doesn't have any wobble either direction, front or back. And then your other hand's going to come in and support it so that when you do bring the gun up, your hand's not moving around. Right? All this is doing is helping you support it.
That makes sense.
The gun from bouncing around too much.
Hmm.
So, I don't know. You go shooting with us, I'll come down. We'll take you shooting. One of the things that people, I think most anyone who shoots for the first time, I'd love to take everyone who ever shoots for the very first time to an outdoor range.
Yes.
And just spend some quiet time with them. because in the indoor range, you have other people that are shooting, right? You have that echo and overpressure that's coming. You might be a little nervous, so you're standing there, and then the guy 2 stalls over, thinks he's awesome, and he boom, 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 boom. He's firing a shotgun as fast as he can, shredding the paper, and being like, "Yep, I'm a killer." You know, all you did was irritate everyone else's nerves while you shot real fast, right? So a lot of times there's people that aren't very polite there, and just being in that room with other people shooting can add to the nerves and the anxiety and a little bit of stress. The main thing to do is pay attention to what you're doing. Whoever's teaching you, pay attention to what they're saying, the safety, and just shoot and see how you like it. Don't try to worry about other people. It's kind of like if you're on stage, you know, you're waiting for the response of the crowd, the laugh, right? And you're doing your thing. But you're not staring at your girlfriend to see if you're doing okay. And you're not looking at the bar or the waiters to make sure that the shop is, you know, or the club is working efficiently, right? You don't care. You're up there to do your task. You're up there to present things in a timely manner and make people laugh, right? So when you're learning to shoot, your job, your thing at the time is to do things safely, relax, engage, and learn off of it.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that with me. I never knew that. That's, you do that to steady your arms. I don't know if you guys can see my hands because my camera. I'm gonna adjust the lights in my room. You guys can keep talking. I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get it.
Evan, you got anything to add?
Oh, you know, might have a thing or two to say. We're actually gearing up towards the end here, so maybe just a closing couple, you know, pointer things. As far as shooting for one's first time, step one, I think, is definitely most important to be at an outdoor range. Indoor is intimidating. It's loud, uncomfortable. There's other people. There's bullet holes in some of the small walls, which is never a good sign. Some people just should not be in the public shooting firearms, or you know, should be educated further before they do, because even I myself, as one that is familiar with firearms, I get nervous at indoor ranges. It's loud, it's concussive, there's a lot of people around. It's a completely different experience to be out in the woods with people you trust and that are looking out for your safety and for the betterment of your knowledge, and to just be out in the relaxing environment and to slowly learn things and slowly execute the lessons that you've acquired and just grow as a human being.
Yep.
So if you ever do decide that you'd like to, you know, fire your first gun, we can give you 2 pieces of hearing protection, since you don't like balloons, you know, make things a little quieter.
Great.
Give you 1 round at a time, show you the safe and proper way to handle things so it doesn't hurt you or intimidate you. And, you know, it's just an opportunity is there for you if you'd like to add another skill and, you know, add another skill under your belt and be less intimidated by a subject. And it might even spawn a lot of comedic possibilities. So
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I even know a guy that's in the gun community that's also a comedian.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think he goes by John Hancock. So his dad and him started a YouTube channel years ago, Hancock 45. They talk about guns and reviewed them and showed you how they shot and everything. So John Hancock, he does comedy and everything too, which is hysterical because I'll see some of his things. He was talking about when he tells people that he's also reviews guns and he's in the gun community, and they're like, "Oh, so do you like guns? Is that because you got a little dick?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I do." Right? Which is hysterical, because if you know him, if you just listen to him, it's funny. But if you know him, it's hysterical because he's 6'10".
Yeah.
Right? So you got the 6'10" guy saying, "Yeah, I do have a little dick." My dick is way too small for self-defense. I can't smack a gun out of someone's hand with it, so I have to carry a gun to protect myself. Right? Just little things like that. He's hysterical. But
that's what that's always what I noticed about, like, especially when somebody tries to like bully you or tries to make you a joke. If you just agree with what they say, it's funny. Like, and you cause that confusion, and not just the person who said it, but the people who are listening. They're like, "What?" And then it just sparks that like laughter, and it's just that's one of the ways I found out like I was funny is by people trying to bully me, because I just agreed with them when they said stuff, and it was just like it made sense, and people laughed, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny. I'm not even trying." So that's cool. I can totally understand that about him. That makes sense.
Yeah, it is funny.
Yeah. It's crazy. I would either do that, make people laugh, or I would just kind of just stare there, like just have like a stare where I'm not even focused on what they're saying. So I kind of look like I had like that scary, like maybe mass shooter vibe going on. They didn't know. They didn't. You know how like certain animals try to make themselves like bigger? That's kind of like what I was doing. Like, they're like, "Oh, he's crazy."
You stand there and your shoulders start lifting up. You're like, what?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, he's crazy," and I'm like, "No, I'm scared. I'm just not saying anything." That's that. They don't know the difference. But
you're like, "What do you got to say about that?" You're like, I wasn't listening. I'm holding back a fart. What'd you say? You know, they're like, what? You know,
yeah, it's
whatever.
Just that's the first thing I've ever learned. It's just like always instead of like, I mean, you can always go the route where you make fun of somebody. Like sometimes I participate and roast. That's another way I'm trying to like enhance my skill as a comedian, is try to force myself to do stuff that I wouldn't normally do. And that's
great.
And that's super hard to like just make fun of people. For me, it is. For people, it can be super easy, but I always try to just go off of, instead of just roasting about like their mom or their height or something like that, I just try to look at them and just think about like just something completely silly. So I'm just like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's just like, I feel like it's just a great way to like exercise your mind, because you got to keep exercising your mind to come up with those jokes. But what did you say about headphones? I heard something about free headsets. What was that you said, Evan? You said something about,
you know, if you did decide to shoot with us, you know, give you 2 or 3 layers of hearing protection, so it doesn't sound like all the balloons are popping around you. You know what?
Oh, okay.
No problem.
That's a real fear. I'm telling you, like I'm going to be totally different. Like if this screen blackened and there was balloons everywhere, it'd say disconnected. I do not play with balloons. Balloons are my kryptonite.
Yeah, I mean, headphones to get you to come out with us and do a little shoot. I'll even give you free headphones, and I guarantee there won't be any balloons around.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if there are, you won't see me. You know, like in cartoons where it's just like a cloud, like when they run away and it's just a cloud outline of them. Well, sometimes like talking's hard. Have you guys ever noticed that? Like when you try to talk to people, sometimes like when you're saying words, they just come out. They feel like I don't even know. I'm just going too deep. I'm sorry. Listen. I smoked way too much before I did this podcast. I should have been more professional, and I should have been sober. And that was on me. That's on me. All right, let's keep. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I love the honesty.
Yeah. I have to. I cannot not be honest.
Well, honestly, maybe when we go shooting, obviously, Evan and I would love to take you shooting. We will bring balloons, but you get to blow the balloons up, and those will be your targets. So now you get to shoot the balloons. You get to shoot what you're afraid of. How's that?
Oh, see, that would be great, but to be honest, I'd probably destroy those balloons. Like I don't, you don't understand.
At least you said destroy the balloons, and that like I would probably buckle down and start tearing up before you even got the balloon blown up. You know, get in the fetal position and start crying. No.
See, it's never gotten that bad for me, but it has gotten bad. Like I go into that fight or flight and I'm always flight. I always choose flight unless I'm trapped, and then I choose defend, and I make sure nobody has. This is mine. Nobody can touch these. Is your name on the list? No, it's not. Get your ass out of here. I don't care if this is your birthday party.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So you didn't see any of the It movies, huh?
Oh,
you weren't scared of the ghost. You're scared of the balloon that's like going by. You're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
open up.
No, yeah, exactly. Just that's funny.
Who cares about the ghost? The balloon is scaring the crap out of me.
I did see those movies, and especially the remakes that they did. And you remember the part where the guys search? Oh, I can't remember their names, but he's searching for him in the sewer, and he has the little lighter, and then the balloon comes up. My girlfriend's like, "Oh my god, that's scary!" And I just remembered, I'm like, if that balloon pops in this theater, I'm running out of here. I was so scared. Balloons, they're terrifying. Who invented balloons is what I have to understand. Like, who thought that was a good idea? And why do people like them? I am trying to cancel balloons. If I could cancel anything, I would cancel balloons. Balloons need to be canceled.
We're going to cancel balloon culture.
Yeah. Fuck balloons. Anybody
for balloons at parties.
Yeah. Like, I'm prejudiced against anybody who uses balloons. Like, if you use balloons, if you have them on your person, even if you're a child, we can't get along.
Have them on your person. Carry some around in my cargo pockets in my short.
I don't know. I just balloons are scary.
So you hate the magicians that are making like dogs and stuff out of the balloons?
Yes, see, what I hate most about them is when they're doing that, they because with balloons, the thing that freaks me out the most about them is like when people touch them, because they make that like squeaky, like that noise when like it's just like they're going to pop, but they're not popping, and it's just like you're teasing me with the pop, and now you see a guy like just, it's just like I'm just like pop it or put it away, you son of a bitch! Like nobody wants you to be here right now. I am so stressed out. Like your skill is not cool. You're scaring kids.
Your giraffe pisses me off. Quit it.
Yeah, exactly. Who taught you this trade? You selfish son of a bitch. Oh man, balloons. I don't think I'll ever be the same. I feel like you guys you sparked something. You triggered something.
Yeah.
Welcome to Anything That Fires Therapy Edition.
Just talking about that on stage, I'm crying. You just throw that in your act. That's hysterical.
Friend's right. You're funniest when you're not trying.
So I don't know if I'm ready to talk about balloons yet because here's the reason why. Here's the reason why. When people find out I have a fear of balloons, they're like, "No way!" They don't believe it, and then they get balloons, and then that shit. It just pisses me off.
You can be like, "Okay, hey, a friend of mine's got a fear of balloons. Does anybody out here have a fear of balloons? Because this is what he's like when the guy's making the balloon. I'm like, hey, can you make me a giraffe? And he's like, oh God, stop it! Throw it over on your buddy. Just say Evan. Hey, I got this buddy named Evan. Scared of Matt. Say, hey, I know this guy Matt. Scared to death of balloons. He might paint something that looks like a balloon or whatever, right?
Well, I feel like I will just keep it on myself because like it just shows that the crowd my vulnerability and like who I am as a person, which will intensify the joke and make it funnier. I just gonna carry around earplugs. That's it. That's what I do. In every jacket pocket I have earplugs just in case there's a balloon situation. Like that's all. That's why I always have that earplugs.
Some people carry no bags in case there's a mass shooting. You carry earplugs in case of balloon.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have to because I also realize like I'm an adult. So like even though that is a real fear that I have, like I have sisters and they're starting to have kids, and so they're gonna have birthday parties and they're gonna want balloons, and then I also my girlfriend's family, they have kids, so I'm gonna be around balloons. I can't. Like as a kid hoarding balloons, that's funny. As an adult doing that's weird. Like nobody's gonna invite me over to parties anymore. So it's just like I have to like figure out how to get over it.
You'd be hiding under the truck in the garage. You're like, what are you doing? The party's out back. You're like, yeah, I'm just checking the oil.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you're safe, baby. Right? I'll be back there in a little bit.
I don't know. I gotta get over it. It just has to happen. I think I just have to be in a room with balloons just popping. Well, no, that might traumatize me. I don't know how.
Yeah, don't do shrooms and pop balloons.
I don't know.
That'd be a great T-shirt or a bumper sticker. Don't do shrooms and pop balloons.
Yeah, that would be.
Sick mixtape name.
You said a mixtape name?
Yeah, don't do shrooms and pop balloons.
I'm gonna write that down actually.
MC Chili Toes mixtape coming out this fall. Well, as many laughs as I'm having, I do have things to do this evening, and it being a Sunday, I'm sure you guys do too. So I'm going to make the official declaration that I'm bringing this podcast to a close. As unfortunate.
All right.
Oh, so that's fine, but I like that you think that I have something to do. Like I'm literally like I know. Like after this, I'm probably just gonna chill. Like I might smoke some more weed, maybe play some video games, and maybe think about writing some jokes. That's it. Like thank you for thinking I'm more important than what I am, but I'm not. I'm chilling. I'm chilling.
Your craft, and we very much respect that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. It's been an amazing conversation full of great laughs. And
great meeting you guys.
You are always welcome on the
you.
podcast. If you've ever got a free weekend and we are guestless, I will be hitting up. I will be sliding into your DMs, and we will hopefully be having some laughs in the future.
Okay.
So, everybody, you can tune in every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch and YouTube at Anything That Fires for discussions regarding science, firearms, the daily, and whether you'd like it or not, we sure don't, politics. Be sure to keep your eyes on the moon and don't be ignorant. Think outside the box and be one of those rednecks that really likes self-love and forward thinking. Everybody. Again, thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And make sure you check out Michael on Instagram at, I believe it is, MC Chili Toes. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are saying that correctly. Most people say Mick Chili Toes. Can I tell you the origin of that real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the origin of that is like that was going to be my stage name. It was going to be my first and last name. It's Michael Chilton. And then like Chili Toes, and I remember how I thought of it because I was like laying in my bed and my feet were hanging out of the blanket, and I'm like, oh, my toes are chilly. I'm like, Chili Toes. I'm like, perfect. I'm like, it's so stupid, it works. And then I remember I like took it on stage, and the comedian I told it to, he was just like, that's stupid. I ain't calling you that. Which really, I was just like, okay, so this comedy's gonna hurt. And that's like that was my first lesson. But it made sense. Like he was just basically telling me like I shouldn't go by like a gimmick name because if people like me, they should know what my real name is, Michael Chilton. Yeah, so just go by that.
There you go.
So
Chilton.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
But a lot of people, I know you got to go, and you said that. A lot of people, when I tell them that, they think like, why would you put chili on your toes? And I was just like, why would I put chili on my toes? That makes no sense. Like you're weird. You made this conversation.
Right. Why did your perverted mind go there? Right.
Yeah.
So you need to start a podcast. It'll be Chilling with Chilton.
Chilling with Chilton. Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It was great talking to you guys. Thank you for having me on.
Good talking with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Everybody, have a wonderful week. Be sure to tune in next Sunday. Again, 4 p.m. on the YouTube and the Twitch. And, just keep your eye on the moon and have a good time. Try to stay positive, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you guys.
See you.
All right.